Right, welcome to our first video on inequalities. This topic is suitable for students who are doing GCSE maths or those who are doing IGCSE maths higher. Okay, what we're going to be doing today is to solve inequalities. We're also going to be writing inequalities using number line. Okay. Now, inequalities are normally linked with the equations. So, for example, if I think of a number and I call it x, and I actually say that this number is actually 9, then this is basically like an equation, right? So x is basically 9. But if I say that I think of a number and I call it x, and I'm giving a clue of what that number is, say, for example, I say that the number is bigger than 9, then now I'm going to use the inequality sign bigger than 9. So in this case, x can be 10, 11, 12, and so on. So this is basically inequality, and this is basically equation. So equation normally have equal sign. Inequality normally has what? Inequality sign such as bigger than. Okay. Now, this is greater than sign. We know that. And this is always greater than or equal sign. This is less than sign, and this is less than or equal than sign. Usually, you put the letter or the unknown on the left. Say, for example, y is a number which is less than or equal to 10. That's how to write it. Or if p is a number that is bigger than or equal to minus 1, that's how to write it. The letter is always on the left, okay? That's the number you're talking about, which you do not know. So we're going to be solving equations to do with inequalities today. We're trying to find what the letter is that is unknown. Okay, example 1 says, solve the following inequalities and show the solutions on a number line. A says that x add 4 is less than 8. So what they're basically telling me is this, that the left-hand side, so this left-hand side must be less than the right-hand side. So whatever I call x, whatever I make x to be, if I add 4 to it, the answer must be less than 8. So I can see that x can be 1 because 1 plus 4 is 5, which is less than 8. So x can be 1. Okay. If I try 2, 2 plus 4 is 6, which is less than 8. So x can be 2. If I try 3, 3 plus 4 is 7, which is less than 8. So x can be 3. If I try 4, 4 plus 4 is not less than 8. So x can't be 4. If I try a negative number, say for example negative 1, so negative 1 plus 4 is 3, which is basically less than 8, right? So I can tell that x is going to be less than 3 then. So x must be a number that is smaller than, no, not smaller than 3, but basically smaller than 4, okay? Because if it's 4, then I'm finding that the left-hand side and the right-hand side are equal. So that means that this x here must not be 4. It must be less than the 4. It could be a decimal. For example, it could be 3.5 or 3.9, for example. Because if you do 3.9 plus 4, the answer is 7.9, which is still less than 8. So this x, the most important thing is it must be less than 4. So that will be the solution to this one here. Okay. Now, to do these things, all you need to do is now to use equation solving using the inverse operation to solve this, just like you normally solve equation. Because you're doing higher paper, they will expect you to just do that. So solve them as you just solve equations using the inverse operation. Okay. So if I've got x and I'm adding 4 to that, the answer being less than 8. As I normally solve equation doing the opposite, we need to take away 4 from here. So take away 4 there and take away 4 there. Okay. That means that this x is still there. The 4 take away 4 is gone. And this sign there, but 8 take away 4, which is basically going to be 4. So x is less than 4. So that's the solution to that. So here x is going to be less than 4. So x is any number that is less than 4 on that one. Okay. Now to do this to represent your answer on the number line, the first thing you need to do, draw a number line that has got a 4 in it. Okay. And basically, so what I will do is basically just to draw a line. So you draw a line. Just make sure that that 4 is there. And you can go 2 steps forward and you can go 2 steps back. That's going to be 2, and that's going to be 3, and that's going to be 2. And you can carry on backwards as much as you want. But the most important thing that is that 4 there. Now, we are saying that x is going to be less than 4. The numbers that are less than 4 are the numbers that are this side. Okay, so if I draw that, yeah, these numbers here, the numbers are at this side. So what you do, you make the line, you draw an arrow there, bit thicker, and you point that direction. So the numbers are going to be um, less than 4. Now what you normally do is that you draw a circle where the 4 is, where the number is, and you don't color it in because 4 is not part of the answer. Okay, the x cannot be 4. So you just draw the circle where the 4 is as a boundary, but don't color it in. Then you draw an arrow to point where the answers are. X is less than 4. So put the numbers that are less than 4, so point in that direction. Okay. So if I just click that, so the answer, the proper diagram would look like that. But even this and that, you get the same marks. Okay. So notice that this circle has not been colored in, and the arrow is going that way. Okay. Right. So the next thing we're gonna do now is to basically try question B. So we're gonna just try question B now. We're just gonna try question B. Again, it's just solving this as you normally do algebra. You don't need to worry about the sign, you just keep it. Okay. So here I've got 1 plus 2x is less than or equals to 4x minus 5. Okay. Right. So what you need to do here, first of all, is to get rid of because I've got x both sides, I've got 2x here and I've got 4x here. The first thing you need to do is to remove you remove the x from this side because x's must always be on the left hand side. Okay, so don't remove the 2x because it's a small one, but just remove this 4x here because the x's must be on the left hand side. So this 4x is positive, so to remove it, you're gonna end up with taking away there and you take away here. Okay, then you're gonna tidy up. Now, so I've got the one there. Now this is 2x, take away 4x, which is negative 2x. Then you keep the sign, and then 4x take away 4x is gone. The only thing left is now negative 5. So put negative 5 there. Okay. Right. So then the next thing you now need to do now is to get rid of this one here. You can get rid of the one by taking away both sides because you want the x to be on its own. So get rid of one. Take away one there, and you're going to take away one from there. So you're going to end up with negative 2x less than or equals to negative 6. Right? So let's understand that. So you take away one both sides because it's positive, so take away one both sides. So that's going to be negative 6 there. Now, when you get here, you then do the same thing. You're going to need to divide both sides by negative 2. Divide both sides by negative 2. Right, so negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1. So I've got x on this side. I will leave the sign for a minute. Negative 6 divided by negative 2 is going to be 3. Now, when you are dividing or timesing, when you have inequalities by a negative number, the sign must change. So this is going to be greater than or equal to. It must change to face the other way around. Okay. And I'm going to tell you why. If you don't, then the answer is not correct. I'm going to show you why using an example in a minute. Okay. So let's just go over this. So the first thing you need to do, you would like the x's to be on the left-hand side. That's what you want to happen. Now with that, then you take away the 4x both sides. So that's going to be 2 take away 4, which is negative 2. Okay. 4x take away 4x is gone. I've got the minus 5 there. And I've got this one being there. The next thing is to get rid of this one here. You do the minus 1, which is gone. And then I've got minus 5 minus 6, minus 5 minus 1, which is minus 6. Then you divide both sides by this negative 2 there. That's what they're doing here. So then you got x is bigger than or equals to 3. When you're dividing by a negative number or times by a negative number, inequalities, the sign must change. And I'll explain to you that one in a minute. Right, once you've done this, then all you need to do is to do the number line. Now, the number line will have to have a 3 in it. So if you look at this number line, it's having a 3 in it. Okay, so the 3 must be there. And you can go back 2 steps and you can go back, forward 2 steps or a bit more. Now, we are saying that x is bigger than or equals to 3. So you're looking for the numbers that are bigger than 3, which are these numbers this side. So you draw an arrow and you make the line thicker. So you draw an arrow there, pointing that direction because the numbers you want are bigger than 3. The second thing you need to do, because you say that x is bigger than or equal to 3, it means that 3 itself is also the answer, is part of the answer. So if I put 3 there and I put 3 there, the left and the right hand side will still work out perfectly. Okay, right. So now, because 3 is part of the answer, you color in that circle. In here, 4 was not part of the answer, so we didn't color it in. But here, 3 is part of the answer, so you color it in. Okay, right. So I'm going to explain to you why when you divide all times by negative inequality, in inequalities, you must flip the answer. Okay, I want to use a very simple answer. Okay, right. So let's say that I've got 2x is bigger than bigger than or equal to 6. Okay. Now, so 2x is bigger than or equals to 6. So what could x be then? Now, I can see that x can be 3 because 2 times 3 is bigger than or equals to 6 because 2 times 3 is 6. Or x could be 4, isn't it? Because that's going to be 8. 8 is bigger than 6, so that works. Or x could be 5. So x is anything from 3 onwards. Now, what I want to do now, I want to divide both sides by just -2. See what happens. If you divide this side by -2, and you divide this side by -2, 2 times -2, that becomes -x. Okay? And let's just pretend that we're keeping the sign. 6 take away -2 is going to be -3. Okay? Right, so that's going to be bigger than or equal to -3. Okay. Right, so we're still going to use these ones because since I've done the same thing as the left and the right, this answer should still work. If I put 3 here and here, should still work. If I put 4 here and here, it should work. If I put 5 here and here, should still work because I've just simplified this. The left-hand side and the right-hand side, I've just done the same thing. I've divided both sides by -2. So the values, these values should still work here because they're still just balanced as they were here, as long as you do the same thing with the bottom and the top. Okay? So dividing both of them by -2 should not change this answer. This answer should work. Now let's check them. So we are saying that x is 3. So if x is 3, that's going to be -3 then. Okay, so that's going to be -3 because it's negative while x is. That's bigger than or equals -3. That works. So -3 is equals negative. That works. Now let's try -4. Let's try 4. X is 4. So negative x is going to be -4. So we are saying that that should be bigger than or equal to -3. Now see that that doesn't work there because -4 cannot be bigger than -3. But if I swap it round like this, then it's going to be correct. So -4 is less than or equals -3. And if I try 5 in this, let's see whether 5 works. So -x, so -5 bigger than or equals -3. So let's put it there. That doesn't work. That's not correct because -5 is more than -3. So if I swap it round, then it works well. And even if I swap it in this one, it works well. So -3 is less than or equal to -3. That just works. So when you're dividing inequality by a negative number or even timesing, don't forget to flip the what? The sign. The sign must face the other way around. Okay? Now I would like you to pause the video quickly and then try question 1 and 2. Pause the video, try question 1 and 2. Okay, hope you've done that. Right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to pick question F for you. Just going to pick question F for you and help you how to do that. Right, so here I've got 12 is less than or equals to to x take away 4. Right, I said earlier that first of all, x must not be on this side. It must be taken out. So this is positive x, so I'm going to minus x both sides. And then I'm going to simplify that. So I've got 12 take away x, so it's 12 take away x on that side. Then this x and minus x goes, so I've got -4 left then. Okay, I've got -4 left. The next thing is that I want x to be on its own, so I need to remove this 12. So do the opposite, taken away. Simplifying that, I've got 12 take away 12, which is gone. Now I have negative x left. So that's negative x left there. This sign here stays like that. And that becomes negative 4 take away 12, which is negative 16. Now this is x, and I don't want it to be negative x. I want it to be positive. So what I could do is to times it by negative 1 or divide it by negative 1. Okay, because negative divided by negative is positive. So I could decide to times it, just times it by negative 1 and do the same the other side. That doesn't make a difference because you're doing the same thing both sides. So this negative x times by negative 1 becomes x positive. This negative 16 times by negative 1 becomes positive 16. But because I've times by a negative number, I must flip the signs. Okay, so that's going to be the answer for you to that question there. And all you need to do now is to be able to do this on a number line, as I told you earlier. Okay, right. So that's just going to be that. So if you're going to post your answers, pause the video, and then just basically do your answers. Right, so if it's a decimal number, again, where you put the circle in the number line must show that decimal. For example, the last one here, 45 divided by 2 is going to be 22.5, which is what they're having here down here. So that's where it goes. Okay, so if you want to mark your answer quickly. Okay, hope you're done well on that. So moving on. I'd like you to try question 3 quickly. Suppose your answer, pause your the video and try question 3. Okay, well done. So hope you try that. So what I'm going to do quickly, I'm just going to do question H for you. And I'm going to do question E as well. Right? So we're going to start. It says negative 1 is bigger than x over 8. Now, x is on the wrong hand side. But what I could do is to don't worry about it. I could worry about this 8 here. Now we're dividing x by 8, so we need to times this side by 8. And when you times this side by 8, you also have to times this side by 8. So 8 times by negative 1 is going to be negative 8. And then 8 times by an 8, this will cancel out. So I only got what? X this side. Don't flip this because I didn't times by a negative number. I only times by a positive number. Now the next thing now is that you want this x to be this side. So you're going to need to remove it from there. Take x from there and take x from there. Okay. Now this side, I'm going to have negative 8, take away x. And this side, I'm going to have 0. So don't forget that that's 0. X take away x is 0. The next thing I'm going to do is to take away negative 8 by adding. So you do the opposite. Okay. So negative 8 plus 8 is 0. But I've got negative x left there. That's negative x bigger than 8. Okay. Now I want x, not negative x. So I'm going to times this side by negative 1 and times that by negative 1. Do the same both sides. So negative x times negative 1 becomes x. And 8 times negative 1 becomes negative 8. And this sign becomes, it flips, becomes less than. Okay, so that's the answer to that. Now try question H. We're going to times both sides by 0.2. So it's going to be negative 3.2 times by 0.2. Okay. Now, so that's going to be x. I will do 3.2 times 0.2 separately. I will do 3.32 times by 2, which is 64. And when you're timesing, the decimal places add up. So this one has got one decimal place, which is a 2. And this one has got 1, which is a 2. So they would add up. So in my answer, I'll have 1 decimal place and 2 decimal place. So I would put the 0 there and then I put the decimal point there, then 0 there. The sign is still there. And remember, this is negative. So that's just the end of that. There's nothing else to do because you got x on its own. Okay. So if you want to pause the video and then just mark your answer quickly. Pause the video and just mark the answers quite quickly. Okay. And there are more answers there for you. Okay, hope you're done well on that. Okay, so that's gonna be the end of our first video on inequalities. Just to remind you again that I'm a qualified maths and science teacher who studied from the University of Brighton. I've got a master's degree from the University of Reading and a bachelor's degree from the University of Nairobi. I am a full-time teacher. I teach in the UK. I also do one-to-one tuition, face-to-face, but I also do online tutoring via Skype, and that's my email address. If you want to just mail me to inquire if I can tutor you online or if we can do face-to-face. I tend to be oversubscribed for face-to-face, so I can't guarantee you that. However, I might have some chances for online. So if you just send me an email inquiring about that. I continue to thank those who have been donating to this project. Some people have been sending, £1, others have been putting £2, £5, £10, and others have been putting other amounts into my bank account, which is just this. Okay. If you want to donate, likewise, you can put anything of your choice, and you can just do a line transfer there, or you can just put that money in any NatWest account in the high street if you're in the UK. If you are abroad and you're benefiting from these videos, that's my bank account. You can just use your bank to transfer these monies overseas to my account. If you're a student who is watching this video, or if you're a child who is watching this video and is doing 11 plus or GCS or anything, to contribute, just talk to your mom or dad and just give them these account details and talk to them how useful these videos are, and they might just contribute on your behalf. So all you need to do is talk to your mom or dad about these videos. Now, once you've done that, please just send me an email, telling me that you've contributed or donated, and then I just send you an email back to say thank you on that. Okay. So we thank you very much for today. That's the end of the lesson.